Also in Norwalk, 95 south at exit 15. That going on until noon today. The right lane closed there. Checking the weather, we finally got Rob out of the Traffic and Weather Command Center. And am I going to bring you a solid week
Things
of rain?
Looking up?
No, of course. Didn't want to disappoint you guys. To be honest, we've got a chance of drizzle today, then a chance of rain or maybe some showers after 4 o'clock. Cloudy with a high near 41. Rain tonight, patchy fog low around 38. Tomorrow, a chance of rain, showers, possibly a thunderstorm or two. But a sunny weekend coming, highs near 60 on Saturday and into the mid-60s on Sunday. So nice to be back in the Traffic and Weather Command Center. Right now, it is 37 degrees and cloudy outside our Shelton studio.
Tell me again how you made it better.
Well, because when Rob was doing the wet weather, you got a solid week of rain both days. And now the rightful person has like Napoleon from Elba.
It was cold this morning.
Like Napoleon from Elba, I am back on in the throne here, and brilliant sun on the way.
Hashtag lateral move.
As I was saying, it is 37 degrees in Shelton, 38.
Hashtag story
in
of his
Fairfield,
life.
36.
It's a burn dawn day.
It really is. Wow. I think I'll go crawl back into my hole now.
All right, well, let's get to some news. The body found in the marsh area off Watson Boulevard in Stratford on Monday has been identified as that of a Bridgeport woman reported missing late last month. Bridgeport Police spokesman William Camphor said late Wednesday that Lincoln was the dead person who was found in the industrial area. The state chief's medical examiner's office in Farmington said the cause of Lincoln's death is homicidal violence of an undetermined type. Camphor did not comment on the condition of Lincoln's body when officers located her. Marcus Jackson was last seen with Lincoln on March 27th and was found dead Monday at his home in Stratford. The medical examiner's office determined his death to be suicide via a gunshot wound to the head. Bridgeport police officers said they heard a gunshot inside Jackson's home as they knocked on the door and found him dead when they went inside. Jackson was considered a person of interest in Lincoln's disappearance. She was last seen March 27th, a little after 11 at night, as she left the Old Timers Club on Stratford Avenue. She was escorted out by Jackson, who's the owner of the building. Lincoln and Jackson were last seen walking together to Jackson's truck, which is a Ford F-150 pickup. They were last seen traveling south on Wilmot Avenue. Lincoln's family reported her missing March 31st. And I know when that body was found, some of her family had gathered in that area, fearing it was her. And unfortunately, it's been confirmed that it was.
Awful story. Awful story. Thanks, Kate. In other news, a Connecticut father will be sentenced today for causing the death of his 15-month-old son when he left the child in a hot car over the summer. Kyle Seitz of Ridgefield entered a plea under the Alford Doctrine. That indicates that he does not admit guilt, but agrees that the prosecution has enough evidence that he would likely be convicted at trial. A guilty finding was entered on the record. Authorities say Seitz forgot to take his 15-month-old son Benjamin to daycare on July 7th and unintentionally left the child in a car for more than 7 hours while he went to work. Temperatures that day were in the upper 80s. Officials said Benjamin died of hyperthermia. Seitz was charged with criminally negligent homicide. He initially pleaded not guilty. Seitz, who has 2 other children, has been free on bail. Sentencing is scheduled for 2 o'clock this afternoon at Danbury Superior Court. He could face up to a year in jail. Watch theridgefieldpress.com for updates on this story. We will bring you up to date on Coffee Break Friday morning. Your coffee break time right now, 11:11. Let's check in with Don for a look at the roads.
Okay. Did anything change in the last
anything
couple
change
of
in
seconds?
2 minutes?
No, it's pretty much. I think we got road work in East Lyme, if anyone's interested. Other than that, Danbury, as we mentioned before, Danbury 84 eastbound at exit 3 until 3 o'clock today. Norwalk 95 southbound at exit 15 until noon today. That's got the right lane closed. And the weather hasn't really changed too much either, although my perception of the co-workers of the weather reporter has changed, I must say, in the last few minutes. But 37 degrees cloudy out there right now, 38 in Fairfield, 36 in Ridgefield.
You took over the weather.
And the sun is coming out, 60-something degrees. Not today.
That is awful gray for sun. The sun has changed colors. or this is on you.
Are you blinded by the haze?
Actually, I am. And the numbers that you gave out, correct me if I'm wrong, the Arabic numeral in the tens column is a 3, correct?
Right now, yes, but was Rome built in a day?
All right, I'm going to cut this short. Way off track.
Unusually, Kate being a peacemaker.
Voice of reason.
Well, when we come back, we have a look at this day in history, as well as look at local sports and more news, including a hummus recall that a lot of people are going to want to know about. So that's coming up when we come back on Coffee Break.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Spring is finally in the air, and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332, and online at stratfordsmile.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
It's 11:16 on your coffee break on HANradio.com, presented by Stratford Orthodontics. Kate Chaplinsky in the Shelton studio with John Kovach and Donald Eng, and we are about to take a look back.
We are. We're going to go back to a time not quite as long ago as most people imagine, but we begin in 1939 on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. That was American contralto Marian Anderson performing before a crowd of 75,000 on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. The Daughters of the American Revolution had denied Anderson, who was black, permission to sing before an integrated audience at Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt resigned her membership in the DAR in protest and helped arrange the Lincoln Memorial concert. The Daughters eventually reversed their stance, and Constitution Hall was the first stop on Anderson's farewell concert tour. She retired to a farm in Danbury, where she was a frequent visitor at the Great Danbury Fair. The event is significant because of a number of reasons. First of all, the plight of black Americans, the descendants of Revolutionary War figures, and Abraham Lincoln. They all feature prominently in the other historical event from today. You may hear bells ringing throughout the day. We go to 1865. On this day, April 9th, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrenders the 27,805 starving survivors of the once proud Army of Northern Virginia to General Ulysses S. Grant and the Army of the Potomac. Other Confederate armies did remain in the field, and Confederate veterans carried out guerrilla sabotage campaigns for years afterward, but the surrender at Appomattox marked the effective end of hostilities. On April 12th, a formal ceremony marked the disbanding of the Army of Northern Virginia and the parole of its officers and men. The 4 years of fighting had killed 360,000 Union troops and 260,000 Confederate troops. That is more, by the way, that is more combat deaths than occurred in World War I and World War II and Korea.
Wow.
And Vietnam combined. The two commanders are forever linked in history, and both make for fascinating reads. First, Robert E. Lee, the quintessential aristocratic Southern gentleman, the son of Revolutionary War hero and Virginia Governor Henry Lighthorse Harry Lee. Lee graduated at the top of his West Point class, at the time the only cadet ever to graduate the school without earning a single demerit. He married into Virginia's Custis family when he wed Martha Anna Randolph Custis, the great-granddaughter of Martha Custis. Now, you may remember Martha Custis and her second husband, Virginia planter and amateur military man George Washington. Robert E. Lee would later become president of the college that bears his name and Washington's, that of course, Washington and Lee University. Ulysses Grant was the grandson of a Bunker Hill veteran, a fair to Midland student at West Point. He was actually run out of the pre-war army. He failed as a tanner and as a farmer before taking a job as a commander of a volunteer Illinois regiment. At the beginning of the Civil War, he eventually worked his way up the chain with victories at Shiloh and Vicksburg before commanding the Appomattox campaign. As president, Grant's administration was plagued with scandal. He himself favored a lenient approach to Southern Reconstruction, but he allowed himself to be swayed by his hawkish former Army officers. Though the scandals never actually touched Grant himself, he simply couldn't bring himself to cut ties with his former military comrades, even after they proved unworthy of his trust. By the way, Grant's drinking was overstated. His cigar smoking was not. He died of throat cancer in 1885. The General Grant National Memorial, located in New York, the largest mausoleum in North America, one of the largest in the world. Construction took nearly a decade, and as far as I know, it is the only final resting place to be the source of a pop culture riddle. Do you guys know who's buried in Grant's tomb?
I do.
No one.
Nobody.
Oh.
He's entombed above the ground.
He's entombed above the ground. It is a mausoleum.
Got it. Okay.
The amazing thing also, first of all, we had a little clip of the band there. Astoundingly, for all the world, it sounds like a Southern anthem, but it's not. It was written by two Canadians about 100 years after the fact. And also, as I was going to mention, the 1865 surrender at Appomattox, 150 years ago. You kind of think of it as being ancient history, but it's really not.
You look at European history, and you're talking about things in the 1200s, the 1300s. This is 150 years ago. This country was split and on the verge of not existing anymore. It really is amazing. And they will ring bells at 3 today, I believe it is, throughout Connecticut.
Yes, bells ringing throughout Connecticut in memory of the surrender at Appomattox, bringing an end to the single most destructive war. And keep in mind also with those fatality numbers, this was a country with a population about a quarter of what it is now. and just a remarkably tragic period in American history. That is your look back, and I am Donald Ing.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. And you guys aren't.
Very good. That is very good.
Oh my gosh, you are being so mean to Don
That
today.
pause was
fun.
pregnant-er than I intended it to be.
I know. Let's check in with Rob Adams on Sports. Rob, we opened our regular season last night with the lacrosse game, and as tends to happen when we do a game, we worked a little overtime.
We certainly did. We'll get to that in a moment. By the way, on this day in sports history, Don, a little something extra for you as the first exhibition game was held at Fenway Park in Boston, a game between the Red Sox and Harvard. Also on this day in 1913, Ebbets Field opened down in Brooklyn, so we thought we'd extend it just a little bit for you. We start with some football news. The big one that broke yesterday afternoon is New Canaan offensive coordinator John Marinelli is the new head coach at Greenwich High School. The announcement came ending months of speculation of who would replace Rich Albanese, the longtime Greenwich coach. Marinelli, son of the longtime Rams head coach Lou Marinelli, will square off against his father when the Cardinals play New Canaan in October. Looking forward to that already, even though it's only April and I just want to enjoy the warm weather first. So you heard it here on, and you watched it last night on the Hersam Acorn Network as Ludlow topped Xavier 6-5 in overtime. Only took one extra session. Trevor DeMilt scored the game winner late in overtime.
Larson looking far side, back to Toby. Toby setting, faking the shot, put it down low, putting it on net, and they score! Trevor DeMilt waits until 7.7 remaining in the extra session to give Ludlow a 6-5 opening night win.
Elsewhere on the scoreboard from last night, Darien by 3 touchdowns over West Hill, 21-0, as Logan McGovern had 4 goals to lead the way. Colin Minikis had 2 goals and 3 assists. New Canaan throttled St. Joe's 17-5. It was Bunnell over Danbury 10-7, and Staples by 10 over McMahon 13-3. On the girls' side, Darien with an 11-5 victory over Ludlow. Staples 15, Danbury 4. New Canaan all over St. Joe's 17-0. Stamford 13, McMahon 8. Greenwich over Brookfield 11-3. 2 goals from Olivia Debaney in the first 2 minutes of the game set the tone as Ridgefield throttled Trumbull 16-1. And congrats to Fairfield Ward's Meredith Neuro on her 100th career goal. Ward beat West Hill 16-0. To baseball, pretty cool stuff we'll start with Wilton as Jackson Ward threw a no-hitter to open the season. He struck out 7 and walked 2. He also hit 2 batters. The Warriors beat Brookfield 8-0. It was Ridgefield over Pomperog 8-1 as Matt Rapp and Dean Curtius combined on a 5-hitter. New Milford over Danbury 7-6-12. Trinity Catholic 5, Stratford 3. Bunnell over Brian McMahon 6-2. Norwalk 9, Bethel 6. Trumbull takes care of Massac 4-1. Staples pops Newtown 5-4, and New Fairfield over Darien. They double them up 4-2. From softball, Trumbull over Newtown 10-6. Joel Barlow 13, Trinity Catholic 10. In 5 innings with a mercy rule, Darien all over Harding 17-0. Ludlow 8, Massac 7. Ward 13, Bunnell 0 in 5 innings. It took extras for Colby Cathedral to beat Norwalk 15-11. Pomperog 3, Ridgefield 1, and Brookfield shut out Wilton 2-0. The Wilton High boys tennis team opened the season on Wednesday with a 7-0 win over Trinity Catholic at home as the Warriors won 84 of 86 games. And Trumbull High, the boys volleyball team, lost a 3-0 decision to Fairfield on Wednesday. Zach Yellen had 11 kills. Scores in the game were 25-21, 25-21, and 28-26. So much more that we can get to, John, Don, and Kate, but I think we'll hold some of the other stuff for our second report a little bit later on. And with sports, I'm Rob Adams. Coffee break time is 11:26.
All right, thanks, Rob. We'll talk to you later in the show. Right now, we're going to get back to some more news.
Thanks, Kate. A Bridgeport man will serve a year and a day in prison for using his vehicle to ram a vehicle containing law enforcement officers, injuring an ATF agent. After his term, 39-year-old Bernard Petway will serve 3 years of supervised release under a sentence imposed Wednesday by U.S. District Judge Robert N. Shatney in Hartford. Authorities say that between April and June of 2014, investigators made 3 controlled purchases of crack cocaine from Petway. On June 16th of last year, an individual working with law enforcement called Petway and placed an order for crack cocaine. Petway arranged to meet the purchaser at a location on Fairfield Avenue in Bridgeport. After Petway arrived at the meeting location, Bridgeport police exited a marked car and approached his vehicle. Petway then attempted to evade law enforcement and drove away at a high rate of speed. A Bridgeport police officer and an ATF special agent who were in an unmarked car nearby attempted to block Petway's escape by positioning their car to partially block the roadway. Petway rammed the back of their unmarked vehicle, spinning it about 90 degrees, rendering it inoperable. He then fled the scene. Petway was apprehended later that day. The ATF agent suffered back and neck injuries and was hospitalized, according to law enforcement. After his arrest, law enforcement officials say Petway assisted them in the recovery of an illegal firearm. Last October 22nd, Petway pleaded guilty to 1 count of assaulting a federal agent with a dangerous weapon. This investigation was part of Operation Samson, a multi-layered initiative headed by the ATF and Bridgeport and New Haven police that targeted violent criminals, illegal firearm possession, and firearms trafficking. In the spring of 2014, some 40 ATF special agents and personnel from Connecticut and across the country were deployed with the New Haven and Bridgeport police departments on numerous undercover operations. Your coffee break time coming up on 11:30.
Thanks, John. Well, about 30,000 cases of Sabra hummus sold nationwide is being recalled due to a possible listeria contamination. Listeria is a foodborne illness that can cause high fevers and nausea in minor cases, but the infections can be fatal to people with weakened immune systems and young children, along with causing miscarriages in pregnant women. There have been no reported illnesses associated with the products. We should say just some of the products part of the recall are the Sabra Classic hummus in 10-ounce sizes, in 30-ounce sizes, as well as the Sabra Classic hummus without garnish in 32-ounce sizes, and the Classic hummus in 17-ounce 6-packs, as well as the dual pack of Classic and Garlic. There are UPC numbers available. I know many of us are posting this on our website so people can get more information on that. We're seeing a lot of this lately. Just had it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the recalls
Listeria.
are becoming more and more frequent, and then what I always wonder is, are there more instances that recall recalls, or are we getting better at finding the potential contaminants?
I tend to think we're getting better at finding the potential contaminants, and then rather than hoping no one notices, they go ahead and recall them. That's my hope anyway.
I would hope so. It's on your coffee break presented by Stratford Orthodontics. We are going to take a quick break and be back with more news, more sports, and more traffic and weather.
It's Lots of Characters, specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
Located in the heart of picturesque downtown Ridgefield at 13 Governor Street, Colby's is the area's premier retailer for blinds, shades, shutters, and draperies, and is one of the select few Hunter Douglas Gallery dealers. A family-owned and operated company, Colby's experienced staff will work with you in choosing the best treatments for your home or office and offer free measuring and expert installation. Colby's also carries an extensive line of decorative fabrics including Schumacher, Durley, Tebow, and more. Or browse over 400 books in our wallpaper library from famous designers such as Stroheim, Schumacher, Ralph Lauren, Tebow, and York. Take advantage of our Fashion in Motion savings event with savings and rebates on Hunter Douglas shades with PowerRise technology. Colby's of Ridgefield. We are committed to your complete satisfaction. 203-438-8531.
It's easy to advertise on HANradio.com, reach 263,000 listeners each month with our sports programming and talk programming. Call Marianne Hersam at 203-417-5199.
You're listening to Hersam Acorn Radio.
It's 11:32 on your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics. Kate Chaplinsky, John Kovach, Donald Eng, hanging out in the Shelton studio. John, what else is going on?
Well, Kate, a substitute teacher in Putnam has been charged with making threatening remarks to middle school students. Putnam police were called to the middle school to investigate a complaint against a teacher around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. The teacher, 46-year-old Andrea Hewson, is a substitute at Putnam Middle School. She is accused of making inappropriate and threatening comments to a classroom of students. She is a Putnam resident. She has been charged with breach of peace and released on a $1,500 bond with an April 22nd court date at State Superior Court in Danielson.
Thanks, John. Well, an emerging tick-borne disease is starting to show up in Bridgeport and Branford, according to a researcher. CBS New York reports that the Powassan virus has symptoms that are similar to those of Lyme disease, including headache, nausea, and fever. But once contracted, there's no treatment for Powassan. In some cases, it can be fatal, according to Dr. Theodore Andradis, who heads the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station. He said these ticks will transmit the virus when they feed within a matter of hours, whereas the Lyme disease, for example, ticks generally have to feed up to 2 days before they're capable of transmitting it. Andradis said there have been no reported human cases of the virus in the region, but added, now more than ever, people who venture into wooded areas where deer might carry ticks should protect themselves with clothing. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, many people who become infected with the Powassan virus do not develop any symptoms. The incubation period ranges from 1 week to 1 month. But the virus can infect the central nervous system and cause encephalitis and meningitis. Approximately half of survivors develop neurological symptoms, such as recurrent headache, muscle wasting, and memory problems, according to the CDC. There were 12 reported human cases nationally in 2013, the last year when statistics were available. So another scary virus to be nervous about when it comes to ticks in this area.
Yeah, just another reason to worry when you go out in the woods, which is not what we need. Here's something we do need, and we've talked about on Yankee Fisherman, which is coming up today at 1 on HANradio.com, streaming live on the Hersam Acorn Network. We've talked about how the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection kind of wanting them to do more to crack down on poachers. Well, tomorrow they are going to unveil Labrador retrievers trained to sniff out poachers. And the canines have been trained to detect certain species of fish commonly caught in Connecticut, such as trout and striped bass. And they've been trained to search vessels, under rocks, along the shoreline, any place that illegally taken fish could be hidden. They're going to unveil them tomorrow up in Old Lyme with a demonstration. Really hope to get to do a segment at some point.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
On that for Yankee Fishermen. It's really something they need to crack down.
You know, when I saw that press release, the first thought that went through my head, for which Kate mercilessly mocked me for a good 20 minutes, was, well, how do the dogs know what fish were caught legally or not?
Well, the shorts, because guys will hide shorts,
right,
or if they're out of season. I mean, the dog would...
Right. The dog would smell a fish.
Indicate the fish. Yes. The handler.
It's up to the humans to determine whether
it's up to the humans to determine the violation.
I was picturing the dog checking his fishing license.
I think we need to put more power in the hands of the Labradors. But what was interesting, I thought about that press release as well, John, is that in the future, they're also going to train the dogs to detect game species that are illegally. So that, I think, is very neat.
And it's
not just fish. I know you're slanted a little bit more towards the fish.
Yes and no. Guys, do get creative with hiding them.
That's interesting.
And of course those that do give the rest a bad name, as I always argue whenever we do stories about like illegal taking of animals. People want to say like hunters in the woods. I'm like, no, they're not hunters, they're poachers. That's the
correct.
Right. Same thing with the anglers. There's anglers and there's poachers. Anglers follow the rules obviously, and we have the Labradors for those that don't.
And I'm looking forward to talking to the guys at DEEP about that.
I think that'd be a great segment. Well, in other news, a man was injured after a fire broke out in a Castle Hill Drive home in Bethel Wednesday morning, according to Fire Marshal Thomas Galliford. According to the News Times, the Stony Hill and Bethel fire departments were called to the single-family house about 9:50 in the morning, and they found an active fire on the first floor. With the help of Bethel police officers, a firefighter quickly rescued one occupant who was still inside. The man was taken to Danbury Hospital with injuries consistent with smoke inhalation. The fire was extinguished within 10 minutes, but the cause of that is still under investigation.
Darien police have joined the ranks of departments that are sending officers to training in fair and impartial policing. It's a new course offered by the U.S. Department of Justice. Sergeant Allison Hudma and Detective Andrew Mastriani will be at the 2.5-day course. Norwalk Police hosted it. It was taught by Department of Justice personnel. It's a train-the-trainer course on teaching people how to train other members of their department how to be fair and impartial and avoid bias in doing their police duties. So interesting, especially given a story that we're going to be talking about more later this week.
Right.
With reports of a survey that says there's some profiling going on. Your coffee break time presented by Stratford Orthodontics, 1138.
All right. Well, speaking of local police departments, the Ridgefield Police Department is saying goodbye to a valued member of its team. Zeus, an 11-year-old German Shepherd, will be euthanized Wednesday, April 15th as a result of his severe degenerative hip disorder. Zeus retired from the force recently due to this disorder, and his health has seriously declined since then. Zeus joined the department in 2006 and was partnered with Officer Sean Murray, with whom he continued to reside with after his retirement. During Zeus's career, he was responsible for over 250 narcotics arrests, performed hundreds of demonstrations for the public, and conducted over 50 tracks for missing or wanted individuals. During these tracks, he located 6 individuals that were in life-threatening situations and located 6 suspects that had fled the scenes of crimes. The largest amount of narcotics Zeus was responsible for seizing was 10 pounds of marijuana, and that happened in 2006. Retired police K-9 Zeus will be honored Wednesday, April 15th with his final ride. The ride will begin at police headquarters at about 4:45 in the afternoon and take the following route, going west on Governor Street, north on Main Street, then to Route 7, ending at the Ridgefield Veterinary Hospital. Ridgefield officers will be joined by local law enforcement agencies to pay tribute to Zeus during this final ride. Members of the community are asked to gather on the sidewalks of Main Street along the route if they wish to pay tribute. Zeus was a valued member of the team, according to Ridgefield Police, and he will be greatly missed. Oh, I'm getting a little misty.
The final ride
so
they do,
amazing
I
that they're
just
doing
saw.
that.
I just saw a video that just brought tears to my eyes, and I used to know and fish and hunt with a K-9 officer down where I grew up in New Jersey, and I just saw where the dog was being taken into the vets, and there's just a line of blue saluting as he goes.
Yeah, I mean, we've reached out to Captain Jeff Kreitz because we would love to have him come on. We're going to be in Ridgefield tomorrow. We'll also be live streaming our shows, and we're going to be doing Behind the News there, and it would be great to have him come on and talk a little bit about this. It must be so difficult for the handler.
It really is. The handler, they're always devastated, when their partner retires. The other thing, the other officers, they really have such a bond with the canine, because as one of the officers told me on the day that his canine partner retired, he's like, they look at these dogs as being, when you think about it, it's like, imagine if you have a cop on the police force and it's the strongest, the fastest, the one that scares criminals the most, the best investigator, and the one that gets along best with kids, and it's all the same cop.
Yes, it's like your number one. Yeah, it's your star.
And he lives with you, and he would do anything for you.
Right. Just total loyalty to you, complete.
And he's part of your family, and he scares the heck out of bad guys.
All right, let's take another look at weather and traffic with Don.
Okay. Right now we just have, just in the last few minutes, 91 northbound in Rocky Hill. We have construction there at exit 23 until 3:30 today. That's got the left lane closed. Also a little bit more out of our area, 95 south at exit 74. Road work until 3 o'clock today. The right lane closed there. We've still got the road work in Danbury, 84 eastbound at exit 8 until 3 o'clock today. That's got the left lane closed. And also road work just about ready to wrap up in Norwalk, 95 south at exit 15. That only going on today for about another 20 minutes, according to the state. As far as the weather goes, chance of drizzle today, then a slight chance of rain or drizzle, high in the low 40s. Tonight, rain, patchy fog, low around 36, maybe a tenth of an inch of total rain. Tomorrow, chance of rain, showers, possibly a thunderstorm afternoon, areas of fog before 3 o'clock, and sunny weekend coming, highs near 60 on Saturday, into the mid-60s on Sunday. Right now, it is 40 degrees in Milford, 40 in Stratford, and there's temperature in a couple of other towns too. Coffee break time, 11:43.
All right, we are going to step out. Be right back with another look at sports. You're listening to Coffee Break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics on HANradio.com.
Spring is finally in the air, and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well, with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
This year, 3,000 Connecticut women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Acorn is a proud sponsor of the Komen, Connecticut Race for the Cure. Help make an impact in the local fight against breast cancer by joining us on May 9th in Westport at Sherwood Island. With your help, Connecticut invests in local breast cancer programs, helping local women beat breast cancer. Visit KomenCT.org to register or donate today. We race for Connecticut. Why will you race?
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics on HANradio.com. John Kovach with Kate Chaplinsky, Donald Eng. In our Shelton studio, time to bring in Rob Adams for a quick look at sports, and the regular season is underway as of last night.
Absolutely, and we started with a good one once again, John. You heard it and watched it last night on the Hersam Acorn Network, of course, here on HANradio.com as well. Fairfield Ludlow visits Rafferty Stadium for a night. That's the new building on the campus of Fairfield University, and they topped Xavier 6-5 in overtime. Trevor DeMilt scored the game winner late in the extra session. Let's hear it.
Larson looking far side, back to Toby. Toby setting, faking the shot, put it down low, putting it on net, and they score! Trevor DeMilt waits until 7.7 remaining in the extra session to give Ludlow a 6-5 opening night win. Larson.
Where other winners, Darien, New Canaan, Bunnell, and Staples. Girls winners, Darien, Staples, New Canaan, Stamford, Greenwich. A big win for Ridgefield as well as Fairfield Ward. Couple of baseball highlights. Matt Rapp combines on a 5-hitter with Dean Cacheris. Ridgefield beats Pomperog 8-1. Jackson Ward a no-hitter. Wilton shuts out Brookfield 8-0. Trumbull scored 6 in the 6th in softball for the victory as they beat Newtown 10-6. Wilton High, the boys tennis team, opened the season on Wednesday, a 7-0 win over Trinity Catholic at home. Trumbull boys volleyball team lost 3-0, a decision to Fairfield on Wednesday. That's a co-op. Zach Yellen with 11 kills. Girls track and field, it was Darien over St. Joe's 79-57. Ridgefield 131, Norwalk 11. To boys tennis, Staples over Norwalk 7-0. Trumbull 6, McMahon 1. Ridgefield gets by Greenwich 4-3. It was Wilton over Trinity Catholic 7-0 and Darien over Central 7-0. On the girls' side, Staples does the same to Norwalk 7-0. Trumbull 6, McMahon 1. Ludlow by 7 over West Hill. It was Wilton with a 7-0 decision over Trinity Catholic. New Canaan over Danbury 7-0. Ward by the same score over St. Joe's, and Darien does the same to Central. Girls golf, Wilton over Danbury at Silver Mine, while Greenwich beat Ward at Griffith E. Harris. From boys volleyball, Oxford shuts down Central, Darien over Newtown, Ridgefield over Massac. And, of course, the story that broke later yesterday is what I'm trying to say, Rob. New Canaan offensive coordinator John Marinelli, he is the new head coach at Greenwich High School. The announcement ended months of speculation as to who would replace Rich Albanizio. Of course, Albanizio had been there a long time. Marinelli, son of the longtime Rams head coach Lou Marinelli, will square off against his father when the Cardinals play New Canaan in October. Get your popcorn. So certainly busy and more sports today. However, I've already seen one game get canceled. That was Brookfield taking on Bethel. So that game already canceled from outside of our immediate area. And you just can't help but think, John, that more games will get postponed.
It's going to be a tough day. The next 2 days are going to be tough for getting games in because I'm hearing more rain on Friday as well.
Yeah, I was wrong about yesterday, but I don't think we're going to be wrong about today. And by the way, yes, I did hear those temperatures that Don was reading before. They're not my fault this time.
No, we'll blame Don. All right, thanks, Rob.
All right, guys.
It is Thursday. It is the day that our newspapers hit the stands.
Yes.
Kate, what is interesting on the front pages?
Well, I'm looking at the Stratford Star, and obviously, as we mentioned earlier in the hour, that terrible case of the body being found and now identified. There's also a regionalization vote Thursday, a WPCA vote that Melvin's been covering that pretty closely. Yeah, and as well, Stratford. Bad news for Stratford, but according to that study from Central Connecticut State University, Stratford is one of a few communities in Connecticut that is racially profiling drivers, according to this study. But, you know, there's been some...
Yeah, that's more of a discussion. There are some people who are finding issues with the methodology used in the study, let's say.
And we should say Stratford has an African-American police chief.
Yes, they do, and he's very proactive at involving the community, at community policing. So if there is something, he will deal with it. Mm-hmm. That's just the way he is. Don, what have you got over there in the Milford Mirror?
Well, what I've got here is that only 15% of Milford residents actually put the right stuff in their recycling bins. More than 3/4 of people put stuff into the recycling. It's kind of funny because for years we were trying to get people to put stuff into their recycling bin. Don't throw out your bottles and cans and stuff like that. And now we're finding out people are putting entirely the wrong things in there. Some of the items they put out there: yard waste, sneakers, plastic bags, dirty pizza boxes, used paper towels, clothes, things like that. Also, they have some other things in there that people put in there also. Styrofoam is another thing people put in their recycling bins that don't belong there.
I mean, I kind of...
Some items have the recycling symbol on them because different communities in different regions recycle different things. Like the plastic has numbers to it, and whereas some communities might cycle these numbers, all those numbers might not be applicable in other towns. Speaking of numbers, the New Canaan Advertiser reporting that the tax increase has been kept to 2.85%. In the next station to heaven, that property owners are talking with the town about a plan for Cross Street and Veedy Street. They are two streets that are just on the outskirts of downtown New Canaan. Actually, the New Canaan Advertiser located on Veedy Street. And a look into women going back into business in downtown New Canaan. It is an area for shopping that has always prided itself on mom and pop shops, and to this day it's a lot of locally owned stores where you really like to see those businesses succeed.
Yeah, definitely. Well, taking a look at the Darien Times this week, Board okays demolition of the old senior center, and residents not liking some regional bills, including one that would establish a Connecticut Transit Corridor Development Authority. That 11-member authority would be responsible for promoting economic development around the state's transit stations. So I guess some residents there not excited about those regional bills. Sorry, you look like you're about to say something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. There's also a great photo on the Darien Times front page of the crosswalk, as we Susan Schultz about that last week. Kind of a Good Friday tradition there for Christians in town carrying this cross through that area. So cool picture of a very young cross carrier.
Always a dramatic photo. I always loved getting the photos from the procession of the cross because they were so dramatic. You had in the Trumbull Times the announcement that First Selectman Tim Herbst will seek another term.
Yes, he is. He's going. Sorry, you're
go ahead.
He is running again for First Selectman. He made the announcement this week. He said he kind of because I asked him, was it in question because you hadn't announced yet, and so were you considering not running again? He said no. He just wanted to focus on his job, so he was just busy with the budget and waited.
Well, had he beaten Denise Napier in the race for treasurer in November, obviously he wouldn't.
Of course, and that's a big question that came up about his potential bid for governor, which he says is not on the radar right now.
Right, he says that, and there's probably people out there that believed him. But also, he would have to run again for First Selectman again before the next statewide election.
Yes, he would.
2 years.
We would be really early in the cycle for him to be thinking about things like that. He has no opponent yet, although there was a hoax Democratic announcement.
Oh,
well,
yes,
and
so which Don believed.
Governor.
And when Don told me this hoax, fake announcement on Facebook, I was like, that doesn't sound right. I was like, I think that might be a joke. And Don totally bought it. But so then I send sort of an angry email to the person who I was speaking with who didn't tell me about this announcement. And he was like, no, that was a joke. He's like, don't worry, we would tell you. So they said they're going to make an announcement in about 5 weeks, a month or so.
That makes sense. You've got a budget vote tonight in Trumbull?
Yes, I do have a budget vote. There hasn't been too much budget drama this year after the Trumbull Youth Association's budget was put back in. Tim Herbst had taken it out. Board of Finance put it back in. Town Council Finance Committee hasn't changed that. So now the full Town Council is going to vote. We'll see what happens. One source of some drama has been the creation of a new position, a Director of Parks and Recreation, which some people do not think is needed. Tim has said it's necessary to help reorganize this department and start bringing in more money and get more programming. So there's been an interesting discussion about that happening.
Well, speaking of budget drama, we've got that aplenty in Monroe as always. The Monroe budget, it's an $84.5 million budget, lost at referendum. That was kind of very disappointing to the town officials. They expected it to pass on the first try, which would be unusual for Monroe. They were also stuck in kind of a bind because there's always the thought that you need to knock the budget down 2 or 3 times to get it down to a responsible level. And this year, they had they're always accused of padding the budget to try and get it to survive a cut. In this case, they had presented the budget that was only a 2.3% increase, including 1.8% for the schools, which is very low by Fairfield County standards. They did that in the hope that voters would respond to to their austerity by passing the budget. Didn't work. Now they're in a bit of a pickle because obviously they have already in a sense eliminated anything that was sort of optional that would have been the first to go in the case of a budget referendum. So we're going to have to see where that goes. But that's the Monroe news.
Oh, also Home Monthly came out today in our papers, and I just love it because that looks like my dog Jelly.
Oh, that's cute.
And Angelica Chaplinsky.
Angelica. And a lot of great information there. Good time of year for it, obviously, spring cleaning and a lot going on, including about the new Canaan Cares Kitchen and Home Tour that's coming up.
Always a big event. They have opened up some really, really top of the line, state of the art kitchens, all to raise money to fight substance abuse. Getting back to the budgets in Shelton, the Shelton Herald reporting that with the school budget, they're saying salaries and benefits may be at risk among the cuts. That will be a tremendous fight if that were to happen.
And I'm just looking at our our automotive section. We have the 2015 BMW X-Drive, BMW X5 X-Drive, 19-inch wheels, 8 8.5 inches of ground clearance, perfect for scaling those parking bricks in the mall lot. BMW says don't call it an SUV. It is a sports activity vehicle.
Oh my God.
Well, because, I mean, how many do these things ever see off road?
No.
Well,
I mean, I love
I do love it.
The fact that we have all of these different classifications for vehicles, and it's like a race.
Wasn't it better when we had car, truck?
Car, truck.
That's really all. Do you need more?
Yeah, well, now we've got. It's like a race between the insurance companies and the car makers to who can come up with a new,
the narrowest niche definition possible. Anyway, the X5 has a 3-liter turbo diesel inline 6, 255 horsepower. Gets 31 miles per gallon on the highway, and it can be yours for a very reasonable $72,500.
All right.
Coming up on 11:58 on your coffee break. What have we got coming up on Stir Crazy with Patty Gape?
Well, it's going to be a really exciting Stir Crazy because Owen Tanzer, who is the young star of NBC's The Slap, is going to be Patty Gay's co-host today. That's going to be really neat. They're going to be doing a Kids in the Kitchen Day. Do kids really say the darndest things? Hear what 4 young food enthusiasts and chefs, aged 9 to 13, including Owen Tanzer, have to say about food, cooking, and school lunches. So what a great idea for a show. Patty Gay's always thinking of something good.
You know, saying the darndest thing, Elizabeth described her dinner the other day as a dangerously cheesy grilled cheese sandwich. the darndest things.
What about cheese brings with it danger?
Oh, it was.
I'm assuming it was extremely cheesy.
It was the melted Swiss and provolone. I also took one of those, those Baby Bell red waxed things, and crumbled that up and grilled it. And I'm telling you,
extreme cheese.
It really was. I mean, the 2 pieces of bread were a good half inch apart when it was done.
Yeah, so that's coming up right after this. We're not video streaming that, but you can listen to it on hanradio.com and all of our websites coming up at noon. And then after Patty's show,
Yankee Fisherman, we're going to take a look at opening day, which is Saturday. We're going to get ready for the Crossroads Angling Auction, which is down in New Jersey next weekend. We're going to talk about a bass tournament trail through the Northeast. Stops right here in Shelton. We're going to be talking to them, and we're going to talk about early season bass fishing with all the focus on trout this week. That's Yankee Fisherman at 1. That will be audio and visual. But Kate, that's going to do it for our coffee break today.
That's it. It's been real, everyone. Have a great Thursday afternoon.
We will see you tomorrow.
Hersam, Acorn, and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.